back to another episode of Miami Market Sense Making. I'm Jake Fletcher from RE/MAX Advance Realty right here in Miami, Florida, and today we're talking about some national statistics, which is a little bit different for us considering this is Miami Market Sense Making. But I wanted to talk about today is some insight into what the public opinion is on qualifying for a mortgage and also the outlook on the economy. So it's important to look at the statistics, the raw data of the market, but it's also important to take into consideration what the public opinion is, because oftentimes that is what's going to drive the future metrics. So it's very important to look at that. So talking about qualifying for a mortgage, among those who currently do not own a home, 60% believe it would be either somewhat or very difficult to qualify for a mortgage. 29% believe it would be very difficult. 31% believe it would be somewhat difficult. So together, 60%, which is very interesting, right? So that's given their current financial situation. 74% of those who earn $50,000 or less believe it would be at least somewhat difficult to qualify for a mortgage, compared to 28% who are earning $100,000 or more that believe it would be at least somewhat difficult. So interesting information there. When we break it down a little bit further, the people under $50,000, there's 44% that would believe it would be very difficult, and 30% believe it would be somewhat difficult. So together, that's the 74%. Not very difficult is 14%, and not difficult at all is 12%. All right. So people making $50,000 to $100,000 a year, 15% believe it would be very difficult, 37% somewhat difficult, 23% not very difficult, and 24% not difficult at all. Okay. Now, more than $100,000 a year, you got 10% believe it would be very difficult, 18% would be somewhat difficult. That's that 28%. The rest is 28% not very difficult and 44% not at all difficult. Okay, so pretty interesting. Now, when we break it down into Northeast, Midwest, South, and West, 33% of the Northeast believes it would be very difficult. 21% of the Midwest believes it would be very difficult. 29% of the South, and 31% of the West. Okay, so when we go to somewhat difficult, 33% of the Northeast again, so 66% of the Northeast believes it would be at least somewhat difficult. Then 35% for the Midwest, so you're looking at 56%, so a little bit less of the Midwest would believe it's at least somewhat difficult. And then you've got 57% of the South, and you've got 63% of the West. So all in all, people living in the Northeast believe it would be, the most percentage of people living in the Northeast believe it would be at least somewhat difficult. Okay, so when we look at rural, suburban, and urban, 40% of rural individuals believe it would be very difficult. 23% of suburban believe it would be very difficult, and 32% of urban people would believe it is very difficult to obtain a mortgage to qualify. So when we look at the somewhat difficult and we add those together, rural, you're looking at 63% believe it would be at least somewhat difficult, 58% for suburbanites, and 63% of urbanites. Okay, so the highest percentage there, you got 63 rural and also 63% of urban people. So suburban people are feeling like it's the least percentage of suburban people are feeling like it's at least somewhat difficult to qualify. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the outlook on the U.S. economy is. So 52% of people believe the U.S. economy is improving, which is a decrease from quarter two. So in quarter three, you had 52% improving, 48% not improving. In quarter two, you had 55% improving. So it's a decrease of 3%. So 55% improving and 45% not improving in quarter two. So it's been kind of fluctuating back and forth. I'll throw up the graph for you guys to check that out. Optimism's at the highest among those who earn $100,000 compared to other income levels, and for those who live in rural areas compared to other locations. So people living in rural areas believe that the economy is improving at a higher percentage, which is interesting because they were some of the people who believed that it would be, at least somewhat difficult to get qualified for a mortgage, one of the highest percentages. So 49% of millennials believe that the economy is improving, the lowest of all age groups. 40% of those in urban areas believe the economy is improving compared to 62% in rural areas. So when we look at the outlook on the U.S. economy, if we again look at it by household income, under $50,000, not improving is 51% versus 49% improving. 50,000 to 100,000, you have not improving is 52% to 48% improving, and more than 100,000 is 43% not improving to 57% improving. So not a huge shocker there. The people who are doing well believe that they're going to keep doing well, right? When we break it down into region, Northeast, Midwest, South, and West, the highest percentage of people believe it's not improving is people in the Northeast at 53% to 47% improving. And the lowest is in the South at 45% not improving and 55% improving. So people in the South believe things are improving a lot. As far as location, rural and urban and so forth, the highest percentage of people who believe it's improving is rural, as we said, at 62% versus 38% not improving. And the lowest percent of people that believe it's improving is 40% of people in urban areas versus 60% that believe it's not improving. All right, so just some interesting statistics about how things are going with public opinion on the U.S. economy and how easy people believe it is to qualify for a mortgage. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. As always, sell smart, buy bold. Peace.